Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, Stardom are now in the aftermath of the All Star Grand Queendom, now begun the Golden Week Fight Tour, and this time it starts in Fukuyama, featuring many matches. But don't forget, there are preliminary matches involving both the red belt and the white belt that will lead up to Korakuen Hall. New Japan Pro Wrestling continues on with another event with the Wrestling Hizen no Kino. This one features, of course, three title matches. The New Japan World Television title, El Phantasmo gets a rematch against the man he lost the belt with, Great Khan. The IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team belts are on the line. The Ichiban Sweet Boys, Robbie Eagles, and Kosa Fujita defend their belts against a very interesting combination of Yo and Master Wato. And then finally, the main event features the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. El Desperado has been considered as one of the best junior heavyweights of the junior division. Well, he faces against CML's very own and a member of the United Empire, Templario. So the real question is, will El Desperado prevail or will he fall? Well, that's a very good question that we will find out. And in NXT, as you probably can guess, the battle lines have now begun to draw. We're heading to the next pay-per-view, which is, of course, Battleground. However, some indications of what happened this past week involving Trick Williams will come into light as well. And of course, the real question we ask ourselves, what's next to our recent champions? Of course, our NXT champions, NXT Tag Team champions, NXT Women's Champion, and whatnot. But we do have, of course, the NXT North American title on the line. And then, as usual, we'll end up capping this episode with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Lead It Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this video, please give us a like on the like button or nice comments in the description down below. Now, enough with the pleasantries. It's time to flame on. So let's begin, of course, with Stardom's for the Golden Week Fight Tour. Okay, so our first review, let's begin with, of course, with Stardom with the Golden Week Fight Tour in Fukuyama. Now, as you all know, we come off after, of course, the recent big show in Yokohama, which is the All Star Grand Queendom. Now, of course, a lot of things have happened during that time, but let's focus on what happened. Now, this is their latest one that just did. Our first match, we have, of course, singles action. We have Akira Kurigani in singles action taking on, of course, one half of the New Blood Tag Team Champions, Waka Tsukiyama. Now, of course, many of you would think this would be an easy match for Waka due to the fact that she's facing a junior, which obviously would be simpler. But we know that, of course, Akira Kurigani would have used her aggressiveness like Zu Suzuki would do, since she is now part of the Mi Vida Loca faction with Zuzu. That would play out. But unfortunately, that did not do any favors for her because Waka defeated her by applying the Northern Lights suplex. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, Waka wins the match. Now, our next match, we have tag team action. We have Stars consisting of Momo Kogo and Saya Ida taking on God's Eyes, Rano Yagami, and Shuri. Now, nothing too significant of this one, but however, if Momo and Saya Ida are lucky to pin Shuri, most likely they could get an opportunity of course, the IWGP Women's title that, of course, she beat Mayu Itani for the belt for now that she is gone from the promotion and Stars doesn't have a leader. But you probably can guess. But however, this match ended with Shuri applying, of course, a submission move on Momo Kogo, and Momo had no choice but to tap out, and just like that, God's Eye takes the match. Next up, we have the other members of God's Eye, consisting of Tomoka Inaba and Lady C taking on FWC, consistent of Koguma and Azuki. Now, of course, Koguma and Azuki, as you probably can guess, they probably did not have a great time after losing to their fellow star members, Ida and Hanan, in the Goddesses Tag Team title match. So, however, of course, they bounced back by defeating, of course, God's Eye when Azuki pinned Lady C, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. Next up, we have an interesting combination. Yuri Him, as you all know, she is currently a rookie and a junior, not to mention one of possibly, hold on, yeah, she is of 3 girls who have not been signed to any faction yet. She teams up with the Cosmic Angels with Sayaka Kurara, Yuna Mizumori, and Natsupoi. Now, as you probably can guess, many of you may question, what does this mean for the Cosmic Angels? Most likely that many of us would assume that Natsupoi will take the reins as the leader. But however, they have to face against the team they've been at war with for quite some time, and that is Hate, consistent of Azusa Inaba, Raka, Natsuko Tora, and Sayakami Tani. However, you can treat this as a preliminary match in any way possible. However, of course, this match, many of you would have assumed that Yuri Him, who is in fact the least experienced in this match, would have been taking a fall. No, it seems that they're telling the story. As you all know, recently, Sayaka Kurara issued a challenge. Whoever walked out for the red belt match on this past Sunday, she will be the one to challenge and cash in her wish from the Cinderella tournament. However, that did not do any well. Azusa Inaba, as you know, you probably can guess this, that she had unfinished business with Sayaka Kurara for defeating her at the Cinderella tournament. Now remember, Sayaka and Azusa were in the semifinals, and it was Sayaka who walked out as the victor. So I'm sure Azusa was looking for a way of payback to get even with her for losing that match. However, of course, Azusa did get her payback on that. So basically, Azusa pinned Kurara, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. However, Kamitani, as you know, has acknowledged what took place, but she was not happy with the result of what happened. Apparently, she was not okay with the idea of Kurara issuing the challenge for the red belt. She was telling her, do you know what this means, and all this and that. Well, in the backstage area, in the post-match comments, Kamitani took the contract and ripped it into pieces, and Kurara saw this. So, she's a bit devastated that she was not granting her wish. But Natsupoi, as you all know, I mentioned this, she has to step up as the leader now that Tam is gone. But Natsupoi is willing to admit, I'm not Tam Nakano. that I will never be her, but I'll do everything in my power to do things my own way. So she understands now that even though Tam was the exceptional leader of the Cosmic Angels, she has to step up the game now. So it's still unclear what's next, but I'm sure Natsupoi will give enough attention to Kurara, who actually took a lot from Tam with her. So basically, she's going to try to guide her to get her what she wants, but it's still unclear. If Kamitani does not accept the title match, we don't know what's going to be. But I want to put this out there. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Kurara actually rescinds her wish for something else. I mean, that is something that sounds crazy, but I don't know. That's something that caught in my head, but I'm thinking there's no possible way that could happen. But who knows? But we'll just have to wait and see. Next match, we have EXV members. Rian, Hanako, and Maika will be teaming up. They take on Neo Genesis' very own Miyu Amasaki, Azumi, and Starlight Kid. Now, you can treat this one as a preliminary match for obvious reasons. For those who don't know, Hanako, in fact, was part of a battle royal that took place as a pre-show event at the All Star Grand Queendom in Yokohama, and Hanako won the match. However, she initiated the challenge. Whoever walked out as the winner of the white belt match between Azumi and Starlight Kid should issue the challenge. And now that the challenge has been issued, well, Starlight Kid came out as the victor, and of course the contract was signed. So you can treat that as that. But the real question you ask yourselves: who will walk out with the momentum to May 11th? Well, I mean, Hanako, we have seen her grown up a lot. I mean, she learned a lot of new skills, not to mention that submission move with Shinsuke Nakamura. But that did not do any well because it was Miyu Amasaki who picked up the win when she applied the Tenzai onto Rian. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. However, during the post-match promo, Hanako had some words to say to Starlight Kid. I'm probably thinking that she's going to say that she will walk out as the winner. I mean, Starlight Kid, we know she has more experience than her, but we'll just have to wait and see. Our main event, we have tag team action. The Cosmic Angels, Aya Sakura and Sayuri Anu take on Hate, Rina, and of course Konami. Now, of course, I'm sure Hate are very happy with the fact that Tam Nakano is gone. They've been trying to find ways to get rid of her, and finally it did. But of course, they have to carry on in Tam's name no matter what. But however, of course, there was a bit of an interesting showdown between Konami and Aya Sakura. For those who don't know, both these ladies do have, of course, a background in martial arts, which fit perfectly. But unfortunately, it was Konami who walked out with the win when she applied the Triangle Lancer armbar onto Aya Sakura, and just like that, Sakura had no choice but to tap. But however, in the post-match promo, Konami has acknowledged there was changes. In that case, she feels that they had nothing to worry about because Hate is going to make a lot of messes in Star. Meaning, of course, they got rid of 2 obstacles that they felt were nothing but a problem. Of course, one of them was Mayu and, of course, Tam. Now that they're gone, they feel like nothing stands in their way. But there'll be things standing in their way. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So until then, we'll just keep an eye on what's happening. I'll keep you guys updated if there's anything that goes on in Stardom. But as of right now, we'll end things here with Stardom and move on with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestling Hizen no Kino. This took place at the Saya Arena. It opened up with singles action. We have the young lion Masatora Yasuda. Well, he is the lucky young lion that gets the privilege to face against the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Yep. So ask yourself this question. What do you think is a perfect opportunity for a young lion to face the ace? Hell yes, because they get to learn their mistakes from someone like him. So the real question is, did he learn his lesson? Well, he probably did, because as always, many of you who know this, I mentioned countless times, when it comes to the young lions, they learn from experienced wrestlers. And then, of course, they finish them off either by their own signature move, or, of course, the same move they use to show them the master one of the submission moves that they have to learn, which is, of course, the Boston Crab. And that's exactly what Tanahashi did. He basically used the Boston Crab, and just like that, Yasuda had no choice but to tap out. Next up, we have six-man tag team match. We have, of course, the Young Lion Katsuya Murashima. He teams up with Bolton Oldleg and Toru Yano. They take on TMDK's Harley Jackson, Rohei Oiwa, and of course Zack Sabre Jr. Now, nothing too special about this match whatsoever, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do see like a bit of a rivalry between Oleg and of course Jackson, because they're two big dudes. Well, of course, Oleg had the best of them twice, but unfortunately, this match ended with, of course, with the grip by Oiwa onto Murashima, and just like that, it was over. The grip is kind of like the discus lariat, in case anybody asks. That's how you finished them off and picked up the win. 1, 2, 3. It's done. Next up, we have, of course, a combination of just four guys, consisting of Taka Michinoku, Yuya Uemura, Tomohiro Ishii, and Shota Umino, taking on LIJ's Bushi, Hiromu Takahashi, Tetsuya Naito, Shingo Takagi, and Yota Tsuji. Now, for those who know this or not, Shota Umino will be facing Shingo Takagi in singles action, while Yuya Uemura gets an opportunity of the IWGP Global Championship. And of course, Hiromu decides to pick a fight with Ishii, which, of course, you could say is a big mistake. So how this match ended up? Well, Yuya Uemura picked up the momentum by defeating Bushi using one of his signature moves called the deadbolt, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. However, during the post-match, of course, Hiromu decided to pick a fight with Ishii. Now, you can say it's a big mistake for him, but I have to say I give Hiromu the credit for having the biggest balls ever to take on a tough bastard like Ishii. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do get a singles match, those two. I mean, that could possibly happen. Now, our next match, well, as you know, the war between the War Dogs and the House of Losers continue on. So basically, this was supposed to be a straight up match, but it ended with, of course, with Finley bringing in some toys. As you know, this became a full-blown war between the two factions, and this match, in fact, ended in a no contest. But during the post-match promo, Finley decided to say, hey, you keep saying I'm not the leader. Well, guess what? I am. I'm the true leader here. So he decided to accept what Evil said. Evil said that in the cage match there should be a stipulation: the loser leaves Bullet Club. So that's the case, and he decides to accept it. But the real question is, will this bite Evil in the past? I mean, look, the House of Torture, they think they're tough, but they like to cheat their way too. But the Bullet Club War Dogs, they're all about, bringing dead bodies and winning championships. And that's the thing. I mean, they have won a steel cage match last year against the United Empire, and it was a brutal match. I mean, you ask yourselves, is the House of Losers really don't know what they're getting themselves into? They say they're tough, but they're not. They're just a bunch of morons. But we'll see. Next up, we have the United Empire, consisting of Jacob Austin Young, Francisco Akira, and Cal Newman, taking on Ryusuke Taguchi and Bishamon, Yoshihashi, and Hiroki Goto. Now, you can treat this as a preliminary match in obvious reasons. For those who know this, Cal Newman issued a challenge for the IWGP World Heavyweight title against Hiroki Goto. Now, for those who don't know, he feels now that he reclaimed the IWGP Tag Team belts, it's not enough. He wants to claim it, but not to mention, he wants to be the youngest IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. He's currently 22, so that it is. But however, this match ended with Newman applying the Princess Curse onto Taguchi, and just like that, it's over. But the real question is he 100% confident that he will take that belt off? You got to remember, Goto is an experienced wrestler. He knows what he gets himself into. I mean, he has been in very worse situations, but we just got to wait and see. Our next match, we have the New Japan World Television title on the line. This is basically a rematch between El Phantasmo and Great-O-Khan. Now, for those who don't remember, El Phantasmo won this belt against, I forgot who it was. I think Jeff Cobb, I believe. But Great Khan won this match by a countout. However, El Phantasmo thinks that that match was a load of crap because he didn't defeat him the right way. He just tried to beat him up outside the ring and leave him there. And he calls him a coward because, in fact, it is. You see, Great Khan, in my opinion, he's the biggest hypocrite of all of them. He talks this nonsense. You know, look what he did to Shota Umino. He criticized him because he's interacting with kids. Hello, dipshit, you're the one you hang out with kids too. So that's the type of thing he is. And now he wants to. El Phantasmo is not going to let that one go, regardless. But the real question is, will Great Khan actually, how do I say this? When again, like what one up him? Well, unfortunately, it didn't do any well because, of course, El Phantasmo finished him off with the Thunder Kiss 86, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. However, in the post-match promo, well, he called out Konosuke Takeshita and he issued a challenge for another winner-takes-all match, and this time is for the Never Openweight Championship. So basically, we will see that soon. So I think that will take place at Wrestling Dondaku. So hopefully that's the case. Our next match, we have the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team belts on the line. Yo and Master Wato team up to take on the Ichiban Sweet Boys, Robbie Eagles, and Kosa Fujita. I have to say, pretty good match. Not gonna lie, I mean, excellent junior heavyweight competitors, to be honest with you, and I loved it. But unfortunately, this match ended with great combination between both Wato and Yo, but it was Wato who picked up the win by pinning Fujita, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, brand new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. Our main event is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Templario makes his first attempt against El Desperado, so you probably can guess how this one will go. But Templario was smart enough to try to dismantle El Desperado in any ways possible to ensure he gets the victory. But we all know Desperado has been through hell. I mean, not to mention he had a death match once before and all that. He puts his body on the line every single time. But it took a lot of effort to prove his point as being one of the best junior heavyweight competitors. He was able to defeat Templario when he applied the Pinche Loco, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. So basically he goes in, and don't forget, guys, starting next month we begin the New Japan Best of the Super Juniors. He walks in as the champion, but we will see who will walk out as this year's winner, or Desperado wins, calls out his challenger. Well, that's something we will just have to wait and see. But as of right now, we are done with New Japan. Let's move on with our last and final review, NXT. NXT, our final review. It starts out with, of course, Joe Hendry. If you guys saw that Vic Joseph goes out, call Joe Hendry, and then say his name, and he just goes, "It works, guys! It works! I can't believe it didn't work again!" So he's like all stoked. Now, excitement aside, you probably ask yourselves, is Joe Hendry came there to address the elephant in the room? Oh yes, guys, he was. If you saw what happened this past Sunday at Rebellion with Joe Hendry winning the match and then attacked by Trick Williams, yeah, that was the whole point of him being there. So it seems that he had some unfinished business with them, that sort of thing. However, while that he was trying to call out Trick Williams, well, Joe Hendry met with some an unexpected welcome committee, which is of course Dark State. So it became a 4-on-1 scenario. So messed up. So we'll see what happens. Now, General Manager Ava, as you know, was having a nice conversation with Io Sky. I did not see what happened in Raw, but Io Sky says she wants to get her hands on both Roxanne Perez and Julia. However, she had no partner. But suddenly, someone volunteered who wants to get her hands on Julia, and that is, of course, Jordynne Grace. So, basically, the main event features Julia and Roxanne Perez taking on Io Sky and Jordynne Grace. Now, Carmen Petrovic was in the back talking with Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley, talked about the recent matches, like, of course, a devastating blow, not winning a chance for the North American title, and not to mention the TNT Knockouts tag team belts. And of course, a shot to the honest had to be a buzzkill. So that's what happened. Now, our next match is a championship match. We have the NXT North American title, Lexis King taking on Ricky Stark. So this was a match, of course, that was later put upon a couple of weeks ago. But you ask yourself, would Lexis King walked away with the win? I mean, he could have, but it didn't do any well because Ricky Saints actually defeated him by applying the Rochambeau, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, he retained the championship. Now, as you all know, recently the Call-In has not been in a good state of mind right now. They have several losses, but however, Spears, who's been like a positive figure for Izzy Dame, Nico Vance, and Brooks Jensen. So basically, it's more like, don't let this be the end. They have to continue on. And of course, I'm sure Nico Vance and Brooks Jensen will love nothing more to get a crack at the tag team belts, but we'll see when that happens. Now, in the ring, Tony D'Angelo, as you know, decided to come out and address the elephant in the room was with Stax. You know, he gave his description about their past, their history, and all that. And of course, a group of security were there, and that is, of course, Stax security. Stax decided to question about what it was saying, I question your leadership when Dark State were becoming a problem. So he felt that Tony D'Angelo, as the boss of the Don of the NXT, has gone too soft. But however, he was also talking about, of course, who he can trust. Well, the security turned against D'Angelo, while the other guys who were so close to him had nothing to do with. So basically, now the paranoia has begun. The real question is, who can Tony trust? Well, that's a good question, so we just have to wait and see. Now, our next match, we have we do see, as you know, Noam Dar make his return, reclaiming the NXT Heritage Cup. Well, he had a great time with Ora Mensa and Lash Legend and Jakar Jackson, but unfortunately, it seems like the metaphor is completely done. Ora Mensa is an evolved, and of course, Jakar Jackson and Lash are, stepping up their game, so that leaves Noam Dar by himself, which is kind of sad, but hopefully he can build new friends. That's all I can ask for. Our next match, we have Carmen Petrovic taking on Soruka. Now, this is a non-title match against anybody ask. So, however, if Carmen Petrovic had the ability to defeat Soruka, maybe there's a chance she could get a shot of the NXT North American Women's title. However, that wasn't the case because Soruka was able to defeat her by applying the Soul Snatcher, and then a shot to the Adonis show up, tried to comfort her, but seems that Carmen Petrovic just had enough and kicked him in the head. So you can say that maybe there's the possibility of the storyline where, okay, maybe she feels that the reason she's been losing was because of him. I mean, that could be obvious, but we'll see. Now, Trick Williams, as you know, well, he's been on Inch for quite some time, ever since losing the NXT belt. However, Ava has just had enough of Trick Williams. I mean, after what happened last week, trashing the entire backstage, beating down staff, the cameraman, all that. So he just felt, and of course, showing up in TNA and attacking Joe Hendry. So he decided, you want a shot of the NXT title? Well, guess what? You're going to be in a 20-man battle royale. So you have to go through 24 people to do so. But the real question is, can he pull it off? Well, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Now, our next match, this is for the NXT Tag Team belts. Our current champions, Hank and Tank, as you know, defend the belts against Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura. So it was a pretty balls to the walls match, hoss fight, that type of thing. But somehow Tank and Tank were able to find the rhythm to ensure they retained the belts. They were able to isolate Inamura and take out Josh Briggs, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Hank picked up the win by defeating him. Now, Obafemi, as you know, has been on an interview. He has been watching what's been going on when it comes to Trick Williams. He knows that he wants another shot, but he keeps saying it'll probably be the same results when we get to Battleground. But however, he had a surprise visit from someone who gave him a good advice, telling him that the NXT is his yard. But he did mention that maybe this will not be his yard long enough. He told him that he has a couple of guys from LFG that'll be stopping by. Three of them. One of them is Shallow Hill, and of course Obafemi didn't do anything. He just says, "These are the future that you're talking about," and of course Undertaker responded, "Yeah." So he says that he's looking forward to the challenge. So basically, Obafemi is showing he's not afraid what throws at him. So he's looking forward to the opportunity. Now, it seems like No Quarter Cash Crew are dealing with a very interesting dilemma. Now, if you guys remember what happened, of course, last week, Miles Bourne, well, he ended up teaming with Javon Emmons, and Charlie Dempsey's upset knowing too well that he teamed up with him. But of course, Miles Bourne treats it like it's not a big deal. It's just this one time. But he's telling him that they need to break out on their own, that sort of thing. I don't know what this means. Does this mean is No Crash Crew are breaking up? I don't know. That is a good question. Now, as you know, Chase U is back, and they Kale Dixon and of course Raya Faber are now in class with them, the new students. Well, Chase U is back with his usual banter about how all this and that. So we'll see what happens. Now, Soruko and Saira were talking that until they were interrupted by Kalani Jordan. You probably can guess that Kalani Jordan wants another shot of the women's North American women's title. Well, she'll get it next week, so we'll see what happens. Now, Joe Hendry, as you know, was checked out by by NXT Medical until he was visited by Hank and Tank, they were telling him they believe in him, and they told him if they need him to tag along to deal with Dark State, that they're in it. And of course, Joe Hendry took up on that, but instead of a handshake, it was a honk, honk, and that's gonna happen next week. So I'm looking forward to that match. Now, our main event, we have, of course, Roxanne Perez and Julia versus Jordynne Grace and Io Sky. So this was a very interesting match. Now, of course, Julia will love nothing more to get another opportunity at the NXT Women's title, while Jordynne Grace wants the shot of that belt. But the real question how this was going to go down. But of course, we did see the fight between Jordynne Grace and Julia taking place. But it was Io Sky who picked up the win with the infamous moonsault on Roxanne Perez, and just like that, it was over. Now, Stephanie Vakir, as you know, this show ended with her watching the event, but Ava had a little nice chat with her, telling her that next week there's going to be a #1 contendership who will face, of course, Stephanie Vakir at Battleground. Will it be Jordynne Grace or Julia? So we will see what happens until then. But as of right now, that's how things end in NXT. So let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. So welcome to our news updates. As always, let's begin with upcoming events themselves. Now, recently, very soon on May 2nd in Shinkiba First Ring, you may know her, Kurumi Higari's 15-year anniversary show has been announced. Zuzu Suzuki has revealed that she will be participating along with her former Prominence teammate and been like a mother to her, Risa Serra, who's, as you all know, will be retiring in the start of 2026. So Risa Serra will be teaming up with Nanami. They take on Isuki Aoki and Zu Suzuki. So basically you got the members of Mi Vida Loca teaming up. Ice Ribbon has announced for an upcoming event on the 3rd of May. We have Totoro Satsuki taking on Kirari Wakana. Then we have Ibuki Hoshi and Sumika Yanagawa. They team up. They take on Yuri and Miku Kane. Misa Kagura will team up with Arisa Shinose. They take on Yappy and Patricia Ligaya. Hopefully I pronounce it right. And then finally we have Manami Katsu taking on Mase Hiro. So that's pretty much what's going to happen on that event. Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. As you know, they have the Northern Rising event on the 10th of May. They announced Michael Oko will be making his appearance, so that's great news to hear. Jersey Championship Wrestling for their May 11th show, Mayflower. They just announced Jonathan Gresham will take on Jimmy F. and Lloyd. And then, of course, Tijuana Promotion announced for their upcoming event on the 16th, the Crash. The Crash will be there. The promotion, the Crash, for their Tijuana event on the 16th. Well, they just announced that the tag team champions, Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. and his brother Galeno, or should we say the Wagner brothers, will be making their appearances. And then finally, Texas Promotions, Texas Wrestling Cartel, for their upcoming Blood Money event that will take place on the 24th of May. They announced the debut of Jordan Oliver, Young, Dumb, and Broke, so he will be there too. Now on to some developments. We want to say congratulations to Corey Graves and Carmella. If those who may or may not have heard, they're expecting their second child together, so that's good news. Now, for those who have any wrestling friends that want to become pro wrestlers in Orlando, many of you may remember I announced that House of Glory has opened up a brand new school in Orlando, Florida. They just start enrolling people on May 31st. So basically, if you have any friends or even any of my subscribers from the Florida area who are interested in going to a wrestling school that's been well known, well, this is it. So you can email them now by going contact at hohwrestling.com. So you guys should check that out. So email them. Now, many of you saw what happened this past weekend in Rebellion with Leon Slater. If you guys saw what happened, Leon Slater did a swanton bomb, but looks more like he hit himself right in the abdomen real hard. It seems like he wasn't catched properly. But luckily they're saying that that he was okay, that he checked out. However, wrestling legend, two-time WWE Hall of Famer, and a member of the Rock and Roll Express, well, let's just say he was not happy what he just saw. Now, I don't blame him, and I do say that there are certain veteran wrestlers who, in my opinion, does have good opinions. Let me pull it up right here. Yes, this is what he said. I'm disappointed. Leon gave you his trust and body on line with that amazing moment, and all of you dropped him. Thank God he walked away. In our business, trust is everything. His trust was never be the same. I have to say, I praise him. Ricky Morton's right. If you're going to do something like this, you will need to have trust in the people. What happened was a freaking disaster. I don't know what happened. But I hope that everybody who was involved in that match learned their lesson. Because right now, things could have gotten worse for Leon Slater. I mean, he could have gone to the hospital. That would have been a career ender for him. But Ricky Morton is right. There has to be trust. And it seems like there was none of it. But I don't blame him. Now, as we continue on more with, of course, what's been happening with the sale of AAA to WWE, Joaquin Roldan had some things to say that kind of made things a little bit clear. So he commented it. And this is what he said. Which company name will follow? That Maricela saying that him and his mother will continue to lead the company. He said that changes will be realized gradually, and Triple H's goal is to keep the Mexican style and roots of the company, the roots in the company. Okay. So basically, what they're saying is Dorian and of course his mom will be remaining as the head of the company under still tutelage with WWE, but they want to still keep things the same as it has always been. Now, we do know there has been talks about things that WWE will integrate. We did talk about, of course, Jeremy Borash being placed as the creative team in AAA. We still don't know about Conan's position. We don't know if he will be the lead or be removed. That is still unclear. So there's more information. Now, I will do a discussion video talking about this partnership. I know some of you will be giving me a lot of answers if that comes in, but we'll talk about that later. But for as of right now, let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we have WWE Evolved and AEW Dynamite, so a lot of things could happen from here on out. So we'll see. Now, of course, there's some wrestling events we haven't seen. As you know, I missed out on 2 Sendai Girl events. One of them involves, of course, Meiko Satomura's final match. As you know, she's officially retired. There's some recent Mighty Gold events I need to catch up with. I may have to do a judgment call revolving All Japan Pro Wrestling and various other things. So we'll have to see what happens. So there's some wrestling events I have to catch up. I mean, when it comes to WrestleMania week, that's when things kicks my ass. Try to catch up. But I'll do the best of my ability. So as of right now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.